Good morning, students. This is Deepika Luna, your IT teacher from Cambridge International School, Dusua. I hope you are well and learning all through all the tutorials which are being shared on Facebook page. You all are aware that your online test has started, and your one test was today. That was for maths, and Thursday you are having your IT online quiz, and the syllabus for that, which I have already shared with you, that is first unit communication skills, and session 1 methods of communication, session 3 overcoming barriers to communication, and session 4 principles of effective communication is the syllabus for the same. So for this week, before our test, we will just have a recap of the topics. So we'll just go through all the topics which we have discussed in this unit or all these sessions. So let's start with today's tutorial.
Today in this video we will try to understand the term communication. In this video we will see meaning of communication, definition for communication by authors. We will see elements of communication, type of communication, and finally we will see 7 C's of communication. Let's start with meaning of communication. Communication is a process through which individuals mutually exchange their ideas, values, thoughts, feelings, and actions with one or more people. Communication is a process of transfer of information from the sender to the receiver so that it can be understood in the right context. Communication is the process of initiating, transmitting, and receiving information. Communication is the mean of making the transfer of information productive and goal-oriented. Communication is the process of sharing information, ideas, and attitude between individuals. So here we have seen communication is a process of passing information and understanding from one person to another. Communication is a system through which two or more persons come to exchange ideas and understanding among themselves. Communication plays a very important role in an organization when it comes to manage the workforce. After meaning of communication, we will move toward definition for communication by different authors. According to Newman and Summer, communication is exchange of facts, ideas, opinion, or emotions by two or more persons. According to Behind Brown, communication is the transmission and interchange of facts, ideas, feelings, or course of action. According to Cumming M.W., the word communication describes the process of conveying message, facts, ideas, attitudes, and opinions from one person to another so that they can be understood. According to Megginson, communication is the process of transmitting meanings, ideas, and understanding of a person or a group to another person or a group. So here we have seen the overall definition tell us that communication is a way of exchanging ideas, knowledge, thoughts from one person to another. It's a way by which people make other people understand what they want to tell, what they want to express. After definition, we will move toward elements of communication. Here in elements of communication, first we have referent, second we have sender, third we have message, fourth we have channel, fifth we have receiver, and finally sixth we have feedback. Let us see all of them in detail. First we have referent. What is referent? A reference motivates the sender or a receiver to share information in the form of message, objects, sound, sight, time, schedule, ideas, perceptions, sensation, emotion, odor, etc. that may initiate communication. For example, a nurse citing a patient with difficulty in breathing may serve as a referent to the nurse, promoting her to initiate communication with the patient. Here is the example. One nurse or one doctor is observing a patient and finding it difficulty in breathing. So that referent will motivate and encourage the doctor or nurse to ask the patient whether he is feeling some kind of problem in breathing or not, whether he is alright or not. And this motivation, this encouragement is called referent. After referent, we have sender. A sender is a person who encode and send the message to the expected receiver through an appropriate channel. A sender is the source of message that is generated to deliver the receiver message after appropriate stimulus from the reference. In simple word, we can say sender is the first source which is responsible for sending the message. The person who want to ask something or who want to share something with someone is known as sender. Here in this picture, we can see one person is trying to throw a message on someone else. So here he is called sender. Here we can see another picture. One person is trying to post a letter in letter box. So he is a sender who want to send this letter to someone with the hope that that person will read at the end. Next we have message. The message is the content of communication and may contain verbal, non-verbal or symbolic language. Perception and personal factor of the sender and receiver may sometimes distort this element, and the intended outcome of communication may not be achieved. For example, the same message may be communicated or perceived differently by different individuals. Here in this picture, we can see there are two individuals, one is sender and another is receiver, and in between them the flow of information is called message. We all know for the flow of message, it needs certain channel, whether it's in the form of any device or any media such as air. A channel is the medium through which a message is sent or received between two or more people. Several channels can be used to send or receive the message, that is, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, and tasting. While selecting channels of communication, several factors are considered. First, availability of channel, purpose, suitability, type of receiver, type of message, preference of sender and receiver, communication skill of the sender, cost, etc. Here in this picture we can see the channel, which is a tower, vehicle through which message is sent, for example, either by magazine, TV or radio. In channel of communication, we will see some classifications. So let us see the classification of channel of communication. First we have visual channel, which is expressed as facial or visual media. For example, facial expression, body language, posture, gesture, picture and written word, electronic mails, mass media, etc. Second, we have auditory channel. It is the channel through which we hear something. For example, spoken words, sound, telephone or mobile communications, delivering audio content either by radio, voicemail, etc. Third, we have tactile channel, which is touch sensation. Fourth, we have combined channel. Combined channel is the combination of audio as well as video. Here we see and hear at the same time while receiving the message. For example, audio-visual media, consoling a person with touch and spoken words, etc. Next element of communication we have receiver. A receiver is an individual or a group of individuals intended to receive, decode, and interpret the message sent by the sender or source of message. Receiver is also known as decoder. Receiver is expected to have the ability and skills to receive, decode, and interpret the message. Here in this picture, we can see the person who is speaking is called sender and the person who is listening, the sender's word, is receiver. And finally, the element come feedback. Feedback is the last stage which shows finally the message is received by the receiver and receiver has given the feedback in the form of either words or any sign or any gesture. Feedback is the return message sent by the receiver to the sender. It is the most essential element of communication process as it shows that the receiver has understood the primary message sent by the sender and the communication process is now considered complete. A successful communication must be a two-way process where the sender send the message and receiver give a feedback to the sender. This feedback will be verbal and non-verbal. Here we can see some of the examples of feedback, either by disliking, either by smile, either by giving no emotion, either by going sad expression, either by giving a thumbs up which shows that okay, it's good, we have understood. Okay, so these are the examples of feedback. Now after elements of communication, we will move toward type of communication. Basically, we have four types of communication. First, based on means of delivering the message. Under this, we will see verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Then after this, it comes based on purpose of communication. In this, we will see formal communication, informal communication, therapeutic communication. Next, we have based on levels of communication. Under this, we will see interpersonal communication, interpersonal communication, transpersonal communication, small group communication, public communication, organizational communication. Fourth, we have based on pattern of communication. In this, we will see one-way communication, two-way communication, many-to-one communication. Let us see all this type in detail. First, we will start with communication based on means of delivering the message. Here we will see first verbal communication. What is verbal communication? It occurs through the medium of spoken or written. A communication of several words is used and each word convey a special meaning. Some important elements of verbal communication are language, vocabulary, clarity, intonation, consciousness, preciseness, brevity, comprehension, timing, and relevance. Here we will see some example of verbal communication, spoken words by individual or in a group by individuals. There are certain type of verbal communication. First, spoken word or spoken communication, which is in the form of words, in the form of audio. Here people hear the words. Second, we have written communication. In this, communication is done by writing a letter or a note or by any other media in the form of written words. Third, we have telecommunication. In this, people talk on phone and send the message and transfer the information. Fourth, we have electronic communication, which is again in the form of any devices or any media which exchange either in the form of applications or softwares or any Gmail or any Outlook or any other applications. Next, we have non-verbal communication. This communication occurs without words, where the five senses and the whole range of body movements, posture, gesture, facial expression, and silence are used for sending and receiving the message. Nonverbal communication is more accurate way of communication because it conveys the true and intended meaning of the message. Here in this picture we can see some of the example of nonverbal communication in the form of gesture, in the form of smile, in the form of eye contact. After this we will move to nonverbal communication may be accomplished by following means, which is by touch, by eye contact, facial expression, posture, gesture, physical appearance, in the form of sound, silence, etc. After communication, based on means of delivering the message, we will move toward based on purpose of communication. Here in based on purpose of communication, first we will see formal communication. Formal communication flows through line of authority and is generally used in organization to achieve organizational objective. For example, the manager will contact the supervisor for any updates and information rather than contacting directly to labor or workers. Here we have picture for formal communication. Communication happening in a group, in an organization where the information related to work is getting exchanged. Under based on purpose of communication, second we have informal communication. Informal communication does not flow through line of authority. Example of informal communication are gossip, chit-chat, and kitty parties conversation. It is very fast and usually take place in social group like friends, family, peer groups, etc. Here in this page we can see the image which represent the informal communication where some people in a group are having a great time and talking while sitting in public places. Next we have therapeutic communication. Therapeutic communication take place between healthcare personnel and a patient with the purpose of modifying the patient behavior. This is accomplished with repeated interaction, usually certain attributes such as trust, empathy, tenderness, concern, and non-judgmental attitude. Here we can see in this picture one doctor is trying to motivate a patient and saying everything will be alright at the end, no need to worry. Though the doctor know that the patient have no chances for survival, but still she is giving a fake hope just to motivate and just to encourage and make the person happy. Next type of communication we have based on levels of communication. In this we will see first intrapersonal communication. It takes place within an individual. We may also say it's a self-talk. Here in this person talk by themselves and try to get the answers. It is crucial because it provides a person with an opportunity to assess self or a situation before acting on it, ultimately affecting the person's behavior. Sometimes it has been happened that we talk to ourselves and we try to get the answer. We say, okay, we should do this or not, we should ask this person this question or not. So this kind of conversation which we make by our own self, this is called intrapersonal communication. In this picture we can see a person is trying to talk to himself, a person is trying to get the answer in his mind by himself, and he's not asking or he's not talking to other person, but he's talking to himself to get the answers. Second we have interpersonal communication. It takes place when two or more people interact and exchange message or ideas. This is also one of the most common form of communication in our daily life. Interpersonal communication may further categorized into assertive and non-assertive and aggressive communication. Let us see the image. Here two persons are talking and trying to exchange the ideas and views. So when it comes to exchange the ideas more than two individuals, so it is interpersonal. But when it comes to talk and get the ideas by our own self, it is intrapersonal. Next we have transpersonal communication. It takes place within a person's spiritual domain. The purpose of transpersonal communication is to realize selfhood, enhance spirituality, and answer questions that are equal in nature. For example, whenever our parents make wishes or pray for us and say, I wish my son and daughter get a good future, please God show him the right path, or they just talk good and they just make the wishes and do the prayer with the God, this kind of conversation is called transpersonal communication. Next, we have small group communication. Communication among 3 or more persons in a group is called small group communication. Here in this pic, we can see 3 ladies are sharing information and talking casually while sitting at home is an example of small group communication. Next, we have public communication. Public is generally defined as a large group of people. Communication with such a large group of people is known as public communication. Let us see the public communication example. When a politician convey or talk among the public is an example of public communication, or when a singer is singing among the public and talking to the public is a kind of public communication, is an example of public communication. Next, we have organizational communication. It takes place when individuals and groups communicate within the organization. People in an organization communicate with each other to achieve established organizational goal. Here in this picture, we can see few employees are talking to their head or sharing their information and views with the head, and the group members is an example of organizational communication. They are talking formal over here. They are talking subjects related to the work and the project. So this is example of organizational communication. Last type of communication we have based on patterns of communication. And this first we will see one-way communication. It takes place when messages are delivered to the audience from the communicator only without constant feedback. Example of one-way communication is lecture delivered in classroom. Here we can see one teacher is giving lecture without even asking any question or any feedback from the student. He's just delivering the lecture. This is the example of one-way communication. Here only one person is talking, one person is providing the information. So it's a one-way communication. Two-way communication. It takes place when the communicator and audience take part in the process. The audience may raise questions and add information, ideas and opinions on the subject. For example, press conference. In press conference, press reporters and the person who is the center or who is supposed to give the answer, both of them take part in communication. Next, we have many-to-one communication. Many-to-one communication take place when many people or more than 2 people ask a question from one individual. For example, panel interview. In this, 2 or more person ask a question from the interviewer at the same time, and interviewer give the answer for their question randomly. So this is the example of many-to-one communication. With this, we have finished type of communication. Next, we will move toward facilitators of communication. Here we will see 7 C's of effective communication. First, we have completeness. Then we have clarity. Third, we have courtesy. Fourth, we have consideration. Fifth, we have consciousness. Sixth, we have concreteness. And last, 7th, we have correctness. We will try to understand the term communication. In our last video, we have seen communication part 1, where we have dealt with meaning of communication, communication definition by authors. We have seen elements of communication, 7 C's of communication, and lastly, types of communication. But here in this video, we will see the rest of the part, which is intro of communication, nature of communication, process of communication, importance of communication, and finally, barriers of communication. Let us start with meaning of communication. Communication is a process of passing information and understanding from one person to another. Communication is a system through which two or more persons come to exchange their ideas, opinions, thoughts, views, and understanding among themselves. It may be written or oral. So here we have seen communication is a process of exchanging ideas, thoughts, knowledge, views, understanding from one person to another. It is a process which is very important in any organization or outside the organization, because it is the only tool which connect the people and which make others understand what others want to tell them, what others want to convey them. So it's a very important process, and it's a very important tool when it comes to pass the information from one person to another. Now, after meaning of communication, we will move toward nature of communication. Here the first point we have is it is two-way traffic. How it's the two-way traffic? For example, in an organization, messages, directions, opinions, etc. are communicated downward from management to workers. Similarly, grievances, complaints, opinions, point of view, etc. are communicated upward from workers to management. However, communication is completed only when the message has been correctly understood by the receiver and his response or feedback become known to the sender. So here we have seen that once the information which sender has provided to the receiver understand it in the exactly the same way the sender want to convey, and receiver give a feedback either in the form of response or gesture, and once the feedback is done given to the sender, the process is said to be complete. Okay, so it's a two-way traffic in which not only one person give the information and information is done. No, other person passes the information back to the sender, okay, in the form of response or feedback. So it's a two-way traffic. Now after first point, we have second, it is communication is a pervasive function. It's pervasive because it required not only one function but more than a function. Communication is required not only in directional function but in all the functions of the management, like planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. Planning collect information and inform about plans, policies, and objective. Organizing involves transfer of information about task, authority, and responsibility. Staffing and controlling function also required proper communication between management and employees. Thus, communication is a vital to all managerial function, because in every managerial function we need to convey information and we need to communicate. So it's a pervasive function. Communication is a continuous process, as at every level in an organization communication is done, because for making understand whether it comes to the superior or to the subordinate, communication is required. As human body can't survive without blood, similarly communication plays the same in an organization. An organization cannot work if they don't communicate among themselves. So it's a very important tool which every organization uses for smooth functioning in an organization and to get the work done faster and effectively from their workers. Fourth, we have communication aims at developing mutual understanding. Here in this we can see communication help in developing mutual understanding and cooperative human relationship toward the achievement of organizational objective. As we all know, in an organization, if there is mutual understanding between the workers, they will not feel themselves getting neglected. They will feel the environment in an organization is too good to work in, and they won't think about quitting their job or shifting to another companies. Okay, so it's very important to create a very healthy environment in an organization and cooperative kind of thoughts in an organization, so that workers like to perform the work and they don't think of leaving the job and moving to another company. Now, after nature of communication, we will move toward communication process. For communication, at least two persons, one sender and another receiver, are required, irrespective of the mode of communication. The sender conceives the idea, put it into such terms that can be conveyed. Then he decides the channel through which he can communicate and convey it. After channel, it comes receiver, the person to whom the message is about to be sent. So here receiver receives the message, tries to understand the message, and finally takes an action according to the information or direction received from the source. Here source is the sender. Okay, so overall, what is a communication process? Here communication process is only a process where sender's information is conveyed through a channel, goes to a receiver, receivers understand it, and finally give a response either in the form of gesture or words or in the form of text. After understanding what is communication process, let us see how this process moves or how this process flows. In this page, the entire sequence of communication required at least 6 stages or 6 steps as started above, from ideation, then encoding, then transmission, then receiving, then decoding, and finally action. Here first of all, sender conceived the idea. Idea is then encoded into the message, which is either in the form of words or the gesture. Then it comes to transmission of message over the channel. It can be either on the phone or on the video call. Then it comes to receiving the message by the receiver. Once the message is transferred through channel, it comes to the receiver and then receiver receives it. After receiving, receiver decode it into meaningful words and understand it. After understanding the word, it comes to action. In this, receiver shows a behavior toward the words or toward the message given by the sender, either in the form of gesture, either in the form of words or the text. Let us see all of them in detail. First in the process is ideation. It is a preliminary step in communication where sender create an idea to communicate. In other words, we can say he think what message should be sent. This is the content of communication and the basis of message. This step is very crucial because other step is actionless without any message. After ideation, it comes to encoding. Under this step, sender organizes their idea into series of symbols, chart or words, which he feels will communicate the message to the intended receiver. It includes selection of message of communication as well as receiver. Third step is transmission. Transmission of the message was encoded. Transmission confirmed the method selected in the preceding step. The sender also choose certain channel or path for communication through which a message travels to the receiver. A sender should always try to use the channel which is free from any barriers or disturbing influences so that the message can be received by the receiver properly and may hold the attention of the receiver. After transmission, it comes receiving the message. The fourth step is receiving the message by the receiver, who pays the necessary attention and receiving the message. Any neglects on the part of receiver may make the communication ineffective, or it means the message is lost. Now, next step we have decoding. Decoding means translation of symbols encoded by the sender into ideas or understanding. Understanding the message by the receiver is the key to the decoding process. If the receiver does not understand the message or misunderstand it or pretend to understand it, whereas he has understood it correctly, the communication is ineffective. This happens because perception of two individuals are different. And lastly, it comes follow-up action or feedback. It is the response by the receiver on the communication received by the sender. He may likes to ignore the message or to store the information received or to perform the task assigned by the sender or something else. Thus, the communication is completed only if receiver give a response to the message conveyed by the sender. Let's have a quick revision on process of communication. Here we have seen first ideation, that is conveying the idea by the sender. Then comes the encoding, that is translation of idea to word. Then comes transmission, that is transmitting message to the receiver over channel. Then comes receiving the message by the receiver, and after receiving the message, receiver decode the message, that is translation of words into idea or understanding. Then comes action. Here receiver gave a feedback either in the form of gesture or words to the sender to show that finally he has understood, he has get the message which sender want to convey. After process of communication, we will move toward importance of communication. First point we have is smooth working of an enterprise. Communication is necessary for the successful, smooth and unrestricted working of the enterprise. All organizational interaction depends upon the communication. The manager coordinates human and the physical elements of the organization into an efficient and working unit that achieve common objective only through communication. So it's a very important tool which is used by the management in an organization. Second point we have is basis of managerial function. Communication plays an important role in discharging the various functions of management. No function of management is possible without the communication process. It is important in performing various functions like planning, organizing, controlling, staffing, motivating, coordinating, and controlling the employee working in an organization. So it's a very important tool which helps in functioning of management. Third, we have maximum production at minimum cost. Every organization aims at getting maximum output in minimum cost, and for this purpose, it requires an effective internal and external communication system. In internal field, effective communication system coordinate the physical and manpowers and make the maximum output at minimum time, possible by removing misunderstandings among people, establishing good human relations, and operating production activities efficiently and economically. When we talk about external field, an efficient communication system help in improving public opinion, helping in having contacts with government departments and getting market information in order to achieve the primary goals. Fourth point we have prompt decision and its implementation. In order to make prompt decision, fact collecting process is necessary. Information must be received before any meaningful decision is taken, and for this purpose, communication is the primary requirement. Again, to implement the decision effectively, it's important to communicate with the subordinate, and it's important to deliver the information to the subordinate, which can only be done by communicating with subordinates. So it's very helpful in prompt decision and implementing those decisions. Fifth point, we have building human relations. Man is the most active and effective factor of production, and good human relations are the basis of cooperation and industrial peace that requires good working condition and work environment. The communication help prompting cooperation and mutual understanding between two partners of the industries. The efficient downward communication help the management to tell the subordinates what the organization want and how it can be performed. On the other hand, upward communication help the workers in putting the grievances, suggestions near the management. Thus, efficient communication system build human relations. Sixth point, we have job satisfaction and good morale. Morale is the element of human aspect which motivates the man to work in the right direction. Good communication removes the possibility of misunderstanding among the parties concerned. Workers know what they have to do. It creates a sense of cooperation among them. It increases the morale of the workers, and each worker will be satisfied from his work. Seventh point, we have communication avoid illusion. While passing through various stages, an information may be distorted by interested parties and create illusion and misunderstanding among persons. Illusion is the great enemy of the communication. An efficient system of communication aims to remove illusions and misunderstanding by communicating facts and figures. Thus, communication cements an organization. Eighth point, we have communication contacts with external parties. Communication is essential not only for the internal management of the organization, but it helps contacts with the outside world. Contact with outside world or outside agencies such as customer, association, other manufacturers, advisors, suppliers, trade unions, research councils, and institutions, etc., are necessary for bringing up the interest of the organization. It will increase the goodwill of the firm. It helps in creating favorable attitude of public toward organization. So with this, we have completed our importance of communication. After importance of communication, we will see barriers of communication. In barriers of communication, first we have physical barrier. Second, we have socio-psychological barrier or personal barrier. Third, we have organizational barrier. Fourth, we have semantic barrier. Fifth, we have mechanical barriers. Let us see them in detail. First, we have physical barrier. Physical barriers are environmental factors that obstruct or reduce the sending and receiving of communication. They include physical distance, disturbing noises, physical problem of an individual either in the form of headache, hearing impairment, tiredness, discomfort, pain, illness, or poor eyesight, or other interferences can lead to physical barriers. Second, we have personal or socio-psychological barriers. Personal barriers arise from motives, attitudes, judgment, emotions, and social values of people, which may create psychological distances similar to physical distances. Psychological distance prevent the communication or filters part of it out of simply cause misinterpretation, as persons differ in their motive, attitudes, or sentiments. Third, we have organizational barriers. Organizational structure create problems in communication, filter of information by superiors, coloring of information in his own way, diversion of information, status consciousness, bossism are some organizational barriers. For example, if a message is meant to send to a personal manager, should be sent directly to personal manager rather than sending it to another department, so the message won't be hampered. Next we have semantic barrier, which is also called language barrier. Semantic refers to symbols. Symbols make different meaning to different persons and more often are misunderstood. The main symbols in the communication process are language, pictures, and action. Body language is also one of the symbols of action. In several leading MNCs, we have seen people come from outside the country to work, and in absence of the native language, it becomes very hard for them to work. And this is an example of semantic or language barrier. Our last barrier is mechanical barriers. Mechanical barriers include inadequate arrangement of all transmission of new facts, figures, poor official layout, defective procedures and practices, and the use of wrong media lead to poor communication. So it's very important to overcome these barriers so that organization can work effectively and smoothly.
So in this tutorial we learned about communication and its types. We have also learned about elements of communication, different 7 C's of communication, barriers to communication and importance of communication. So see children, the journal questions can also be asked in this complete unit, which you deal in a very common way. On the daily basis you are dealing with different things. So watch all the tutorials which have been uploaded previously, and it is equally important to go through the books once. So read all these 3 chapters once, and good luck. Revise all the concepts thoroughly and prepare yourself for the test. In the next tutorial, I'll provide you some questions, so you are supposed to solve all those questions, and yes, answers will also be provided to you afterwards. Yes, definitely before the assessment only. So good luck and thank you.